No matter if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mandel. The Illegal Curve post-game show, presented by Play Now, the official sports betting partner of the Winnipeg Jets, starts now.
Good evening, Winnipeg. Good evening, Manitoba. For all those joining us live this evening on our social media platforms, as well as our YouTube channel, we say good evening, universe, and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show, where we are running out of superlatives to describe the Winnipeg Jets. 14-1, head out on a road trip, tough road trip, maybe you don't get up for this game. Maybe the Rangers get up for this game. Oh, no, it's a 6-3 Winnipeg Jets victory. It's just remarkable, Dave Manouk. I mean, we have the comment up from Leslie saying you can't deny the Jets are a wagon. They are more than a wagon. They are a wagon pulling a locomotive, pulling a caboose at this point in time. I really don't know what to say about the Winnipeg Jets, aside from just how impressive they are that on this night, a close game, two Stanley Cup contenders doing battle, and the Winnipeg Jets end up victorious by the 6-3 margin.
Well, I've got this comment highlighted by Snacktoba, and I think it's appropriate because it's November, and a 7-game win streak is your second best win streak for the year. Unbelievable, and it's true. It is unbelievable. I mean, this is a Jets club this was a really good Rangers team. Right. Yeah. Very good special teams. They have the sixth best power play in the NHL. They had the number one penalty killing unit in the NHL. They've got an excellent goalie in Igor Shesterkin. And, TSN did a thing about these two being the two best goaltenders in the NHL. And and Marty Baron was on, our friend who we like to have on, and he talked about how you get up for these games. And you as a goaltender, even though you're not trading shots with each other, you want to outduel your opponent. And for me, Drew, even though it was kind of an exciting start to the first period, It slowed down a little bit, and then they traded some chances. The Jets had some good opportunities. The Rangers had some good opportunities, but it was just an exciting hockey game. I mean, I just don't know what else to say it. And this is not a mirage, folks. And yes, the Jets have had very good luck in certain regards, in terms of health, in terms of, in shooting percentage. I think the shooting percentage is around 15%. But I mean, at the end of the day, you cannot take this away. This team has 30 points out of 32. I mean, are we talking about a team that could get 150 points this year? I'm kidding, of course, mostly kidding. We'll talk again in 50 games, and we'll see if we're still talking about like this, Drew. Yeah. But the commitment that this team has to the style of play that is winning them hockey games don't get me wrong, there were some breakdowns, there were some bad exits that led to chances, some things that you're gonna have to clean up because again, the Rangers are a good team, even though they're fourth in the Metro, they're still a very good team. Yeah, and you've got Tampa Bay, who is looking for some revenge after the loss in Winnipeg that past Sunday, and then of course you've got the Florida Panthers, where you have that kind of weird home and home that's coming up. But this Jets club, I mean, I'm not going to say they're a wagon. I guess that doesn't really have any effect for the folks in the podcast that saw me winking, but this team is ridiculous. I mean, guys, the goals and girls, with the goals we saw tonight, Gabe Vilardi's is like,
well, Gabe Vilardi's goal, which, I mean,
we'll get into it. I know, but we'll
get into it, but it's one of those goals that you just go, whoa. Like, sometimes analysis cannot be as simple as whoa.
Or in the case of Kevin Sawyer, who we had on this past weekend on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show, on Mark Scheifele's goal. Yeah. Oof. That was the sound he made when he saw that one go in, and he thought, okay, well, that's how it's a good goal, because Kevin Sawyer, who's got a great seat in MSG, he said that he reacted in that way. But the irony, of course, with the Vilardi one is I'm watching it in real time, I'm like, oh God, why are they passing so much? Like, just get that puck on net. Well, there's a reason why he's in the NHL and I'm doing this show. So credit to Gabriel Vilardi, who, Drew, I was thinking about something.
Yeah.
Because Kevin Cheveldayoff was on with Bourne and Kipper the other day.
Yeah,
Kipper
Nick Kiprios and Justin Bourne.
And he was talking about, the trade with the Kings and how that sort of it created a depth. And this is not a Pierre-Luc Dubois. Like, I'm not trying to shit on Pierre-Luc Dubois. He's got 1 goal and 7 assists in Washington.
Not
And
even the team that he was traded to.
No, of course, not even the trade. And Darcy Kemper's numbers with LA are not particularly great, although Big Save Dave is having an okay season there. But the point I was going to make was that Gabe Vilardi, 7 goals, 7 assists. Alex Iafallo, 2 goals, 4 assists. And Rasmus Kupari, 2 goals. So 22 points for those 3, whereas Pierre-Luc Dubois has 8. Yeah. Again, and look, and don't get me wrong, this is, again, just to be clear, all 3 of those teams are having success, which is interesting because the Jets are in first place in the NHL, the Kings are in 6th, and the Capitals are in 7th. That was from yesterday when I was looking at it. But I just think that Gabriel Vilardi is this is what we talked about. This is exactly what the coaching staff talked about with Gabriel Vilardi. Give him that runway with Scheifele and Connor. Let him be healthy and look at what he can do. 7 goals in his last 9 games, and it wasn't like he wasn't getting points. He just wasn't scoring. Right. But now he's got 7 goals in his last 9 games. He's gotten 8. He and Mark Scheifele both have 8-game point streaks. It's just all coming up, Jets. And you know what? It's funny because I know the folks in the chat are probably saying, like, I think Lisa's saying, is this my dream or what? And that's what I was going to say. It's like people are waiting for the bubble to burst. But folks, the only bubble that's going to be bursting is your disappointment that this bubble is not bursting, because the team, as long as they play this style, they're not going to win every game. Again, I might be wrong in that regard, but they continue to put themselves in a position to win. And that's, especially when you see Colin Hellebuck. I mean, we agreed before the show began, Drew, that he was fighting it a little bit, but he still made some phenomenal saves in tonight's hockey game.
Yeah, look, I mean, there's not a lot to say anymore, folks. It's almost, when they're losing, to be honest, take you a little bit behind the curtain here. When they're losing, it's a lot easier to be an analyst, because you could say, this isn't working, this needs to improve, this needs to do that, this needs to do that. The way they're playing, I mean, there's certainly areas that aren't the best, aren't 100% effective game in and game out, but that's because they're humans and they're not robots. But I mean, the criticisms of this team at this point in time are sort of few and far between, and there's small stuff. You can see that they don't expect to ever lose. Now, of course, they're not going to go 81-1. We know that. They very well could lose on Thursday against Tampa Bay Lightning. They have the home and home against the Panthers. They could lose one of those games. They could lose all those games. And then you can press the panic button accordingly. Tongue in cheek, I say that. But you can see the confidence that they're playing with, because nothing phases them. They score to make it 4-2, right? So they score to make it 4-2 in the third period. They're feeling great. For the second of the 3 periods, they have an early goal, 2-goal lead. What happens? New York comes back. They score 32 seconds later to cut the lead back to 1. You don't see any panic from the Jets after that. You don't see them changing their game in any way after that. They just continue to go back to what has worked for the majority of this game. And I would argue that this wasn't a 6-3 game. It was a closer game than the final score would reflect. But the Jets were opportunistic. And what I love is that when they gave up that goal to make it 4-3, Dave, there was no change in their game. It was consistent. And you've seen that more often than not this year, the consistency in the Jets game. The shift after shift after shift looks similar. I mean, you mentioned Rasmus Kupari. He was great tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, he was great tonight. He was noticeable so often for the Winnipeg Jets. And I know he doesn't play a ton of minutes. He played just under 10 minutes in tonight's game. He won 63% of his faceoffs. He had a couple of shots on goal, dangerous shots on goal at that. His speed was such a factor for the Winnipeg Jets on the fourth line that the Rangers really didn't seem to have an answer for him. It's just this team, you can see how they're all just building off of one another. One shift builds to the next, builds to the next, builds to the next. They're all so in sync and so connected. And I know that these are cliches and we use them a lot. And there's a reason we use them a lot. It's because sometimes it's what we have to say about this team. Just the way that they are all really working together and being effective in their approach. There are no lone wolves on this team. There's nobody on this team right now that's freelancing. There's nobody that's on this team that's off doing their own thing and trying to sort of change the approach. They all know what each shift should look like, and they're all generating activities to that effect to sort of channel that goal. They're working towards that goal, shift in and shift out.
And I like this comment by Manny Man, but the Jets haven't beaten someone on a Wednesday and a full moon yet, because there's been a lot of folks who have tried to, malign or poo-poo the Jets so far.
Right.
Like, sorry, it no longer. When you beat Dallas the way you did, a healthy Dallas, and Dallas pumped Pittsburgh the other night or yesterday, so you got a healthy Dallas that you beat. Sure, you got outplayed by Colorado in 2 periods, but you had Connor Hellebuck. And you handled the Rangers. I'm not saying that they dominated the Rangers. I thought it was a good game for both teams.
Right.
But ultimately you came away with the 2 points.
This was a heavyweight matchup.
That's right. This was not that's right. So that's what I'm saying. So this is not, you can't do that anymore, right? The Jets now have enough wins against playoff teams that this is, again, Drew, as we talked about on Saturday's show, it's not a mirage. This is not like fake news. The reality is this Jets team is very good. They're very good within the structure. And the point you just made is the one, like I said, if you didn't hear Kevin Cheveldayoff, I've got the media availability from his interview on illegalcurve.com, which you can listen to obviously after our show. But the one thing you want to see is that their fourth line, he called it a third line. He said they play like and I agree with you. They don't get a ton of the same minutes, obviously, but Rasmus Kupari, one of the elements that he talked about was that speed element. And we saw it. And the most impressive play, I thought, was when he created essentially a partial breakaway at the end of a shift.
Yeah.
Like, he's along the wall, he's tired, and he sees an opportunity, sniffs it out, and I shot it wide. But the point is, he created that opportunity with his speed. And you're right, Drew. Like, that's, again, I thought Morgan Barron actually had a good game as well.
Yeah.
And I thought the whole fourth line did too. Yes, for sure. But I just think, like, you can always tell guys who are going back, like even Vladimir Mesnikov, who's fairly unemotional, he gives a little pump to the boards after, and because he of course played for the Rangers. Barron played for the Rangers. Pionk played for the Rangers. So you've got a lot of former Rangers on this Jets club, and like I said, they knew what this game meant.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they knew that a lot of, remember, the one thing to key on, like we hear, and I know there's almost 500 of you in the chat. We appreciate that, but the point I'm making is that everybody here, whether you're a Winnipegger, a Manitoban, or someone who follows the Jets from outside this province, you follow this team. You're on a legal curve 10 times a day, like Drew, like me. You're on this show after every game. But a lot of folks out east don't pay attention to the Winnipeg Jets, despite the fact that they were 14-1. And this is not a criticism. I don't really care particularly one way or the other. But I'm telling you that now that the Jets have gone into New York and beaten the Rangers, folks are paying attention. Folks, again, the one thing I was going to say, sorry, Drew, quickly, is that this was similar to the way Dallas talked about it. And we talked about it with Mike Heika on Saturday. The Rangers were looking at this as a measuring stick game for themselves. And I'm not saying it was an abject failure by them in any way, shape, or form. But my point is that teams are looking at the Jets. And now I know the teams knew it, but now you got the Eastern media going, whoa, now it's for real.
Yeah. And it does matter when you win in New York, when you can go and just the fact that it says Winnipeg versus New York on the marquee does have a little bit of cachet to it. It is called the
it's got cachet, baby.
Yeah, it's called the world's most famous arena for a reason, and the Jets like playing there. They've gone in there again and they've defeated the New York Rangers. It's not been a house of horrors. Mark Scheifele has had a tremendous amount of success playing against the New York Rangers, especially in Madison Square Garden. The Jets just did it again. I mean, it's incredible. The Jets became the fastest team in NHL history to reach 15 wins, besting the previous record of 17 games. So the Jets, there's been...
Who had that record, Drew?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other teams. The 22-23 Bruins, the 07-08 Senators, the 06-07 Sabres, the 85-86 Flyers, and the 29-30 Boston Bruins all went 15-2. Or took them 17 games to get their 15th win. It took the Jets now, as we know, 16 games to get their 15th win. It's just utterly
Incredible.
insane what the Winnipeg Jets continue to do. And this was, to your point, this was a heavyweight fight. The New York Rangers are a Stanley Cup contender. Everyone knows that.
Absolutely.
They consider themselves that. They know that this is and it's now becoming one where the Jets are the measuring stick game for all these teams. You don't think that all these teams know how good the Jets have been playing and they want to be the ones to sort of put the stick in their tire spokes so that they fall off the bicycle for at least one game?
Happened to Drew quite a bit as a young man.
It's true. That was more just me being unable to ride a bike, but that's a different story altogether. I can ride a bike. I'm kidding. But the Jets just go in there and it's 6-3 and there's just no, I mean, they're just so even keeled with their approach. It's like they expect to win. And when you expect to win, and you're putting in those effort and the small details to ensure that victory is coming your way, that's what you're seeing from the Winnipeg Jets. I thought they played a good game. I didn't think they played a perfect game. Nope. There were some flaws to their game. There were some times where they weren't able to clear the puck well. Like I said to you before the show started, I thought that Connor Hellebuck, his rebound control, which is usually, tremendous, I didn't think it was up to his standard of excellent in today's game. Obviously, Connor Hellebuck still made a number of key saves throughout the course of this contest. Despite giving up the 3 goals, he was very effective for the Winnipeg Jets. But I could sort of see times where he was fighting the puck a little bit, where pucks that are normally gobbled up by him and frozen without a second chance, sometimes in this game had a second chance. Well, every time there was an opportunity there's a Jets defender there instead. They're getting a stick in a lane. They're preventing what looks like it's going to be a tap-in goal by Mika Zibanejad or one of the players on the Rangers power play. There's a stick that comes out of nowhere and it pokes it away harmlessly. It's just amazing how on point the Winnipeg Jets are when it comes to their small details, the little things that are oftentimes the difference between winning and losing. Just a little bit of getting that stick. You're just a quarter of a step faster than your opponent, and it makes all the difference. And that's what the Winnipeg Jets seem to be doing again tonight as this incredible streak continues.
Well, and Drew, I just want to highlight this comment by Drew Wendell, who I'm not sure isn't you.
It's still not
pseudonym.
Me. I'd like to meet Drew Wendell, but it's still not me.
No, but it's for the folks listening on the podcast after. It's Jets finally play the same against every team. The coaching staff is excellent, and that is what we have consistently talked about this Jets club. Last year, remember, this is a team that's finished 4th in the NHL with 110 points last year. But one of the criticisms was that they tended to play down to their opponents and sometimes not play their brand of hockey against the Sharks or against the Blackhawks. And those games tended to be closer than they needed to be. Well, this year, they're playing Winnipeg Jets hockey. And we can all kind of define it. Like, we know it. When this team is playing their game. And I think that, Drew, is kind of like what I'm noticing most about this Jets club this year is just that they don't change. They don't deviate from the plan. Why would you? You're making history every single game. Right. Every single guy is having success. You've got, Mark Scheifele, Kyle Connor, and Nikolai Ehlers might just be just below, but 3 guys who are on pace for 100 points. Now, we're a long ways away from that. But my point is that you are having individual success. Like, remember, every one of these guys, Neil Pionk, Vlad Nemestikov, Alex Iafallo, all of these guys who are in their last year of their deal, they're all having great years. And we've talked about that, and that's, a conversation more for a Saturday show. But my point I'm making is that the success each individual is having is a result of following the brand that has been established by the team.
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right, because there's none of the players on the team want to be the guys who cost the team. They know that they all want to be, when you set the standard so high, that everyone knows that that's the standard you have to reach and achieve on a game in, game out basis. So a guy like Hayden Fleury, who comes back in the lineup tonight, probably his first game in 12 games, if I'm not mistaken?
11.
11 games, okay.
Yeah.
He knows the standard that he has to achieve.
Actually, no, technically you'd be right. It'd be 12 because
he played the first 4, right?
Yeah, and Stanley played 11, and then so he's coming in 12 games later.
There you go. Thank you. But the standard, he knows the standard is up here. he can't afford to be down here when the rest of his teammates are up here. So the internal drive within that dressing room forces everybody to find a way to be a little bit better, to give that extra 10% that they talked about in the offseason. It's really, I mean, that was my big question sort of coming into the start of the year. Where was that extra 10% going to come from? Which of these guys had that 10% more to give? Well, it turns out it looks like the entire team so far is finding a way to give that extra 10%. And it's translating for this Winnipeg Jets franchise into wins, and more wins, as they're now up to 15 wins in their first 16 games so far this season. An absolutely incredible streak that they are on. We say good evening to everyone, almost 550 of you joining us live tonight on the Illegal Curve post-game show. So great to see so many of you here. If you haven't already done so, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the podcast. We do this after each and every Winnipeg Jets game, and we do it again on Saturday morning as well for the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. So if you happen to be new here, welcome. We're thrilled you're able to join us to talk about the Winnipeg Jets. But more importantly, we also want to see you come back. So be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast, and you'll never miss an episode of Illegal Curve Hockey. When we get into the goal-by-goal recap coming up here in a moment, first I want to mention to everybody, Illegal Curve merchandise is now available. It's available through our website, illegalcurve.com. The Illegal Curve locker room is only open for another 5 days. So be sure to get your Illegal Curve merchandise ASAP. Go to illegalcurve.com, click on merch. It's right at the top. Follow the link and you can get some great Illegal Curve gear, and you'll look like the coolest hockey fan in Winnipeg or wherever you may be joining us from. As I know, I've seen people from Southeast Asia. I've seen people from New York. I know that there's so many people joining us in Winnipeg, in Manitoba, and all around the world, like you do each and every time we go live here with the Illegal Curve broadcast. So be sure to get your Illegal Curve merch. Go to our website, illegalcurve.com, and get your hands on that merchandise. Drew Mandel, Dave Manouk with you on this Tuesday night. Let's get into
I was going to say, Drew, we got 10 goals to go over or something.
I know,
like that.
We're going to get into it.
We've gone 25 minutes of just preamble. So let's get this thing rolling. I tweeted about 9 minutes ago that the game recap had already started. We're about to get the second tweet that I set to go say that we're rolling along. We're not rolling along. We're about to get started.
Well, there you go. It's close enough indeed. And the important part is that we are now going to go into the goal-by-goal recap. It's called the
Play Now Game Recap.
Big thanks to our friends at Play Now for their continued support of the Illegal Curve post-game show and the Illegal Curve hockey show. Learn to bet with Play Now, the official betting partner of the Winnipeg Jets. Sign up and get up to $250 in bonus bets. Conditions apply. 18 plus. Enjoy responsibly. Exactly the kind of start that the Winnipeg Jets would have wanted. You want to get that early goal. You want to keep that momentum going from the Saturday afternoon victory over the Dallas Stars, and the Jets do just that. 57 seconds into the game. This is just maybe a word of advice to the New York Rangers and the other 31 NHL teams. You might not want to leave Mark Scheifele all alone in front of your goaltender, at least so far this year. He's been a little bit of an effective goal scorer. His 8th of the year, 57 seconds into the game. Assist to Josh Morrissey. And it's just a blown coverage, really, by the Rangers. The puck is ringing around the boards. Morrissey steps up at the Rangers blue line. Zibanejad just with a soft giveaway. Morrissey to Scheifele behind Shesterkin for the 1-0 Winnipeg Jets lead, Dave.
Well, Drew, the person I want to talk about is actually Kyle Connor, because I actually love the play of Kyle Connor, because he forces Panarin to make a quick pass to Zibanejad, and then he forces Zibanejad to lose the puck on an aggressive play by him. So he doesn't get an assist on this, but it's his work in the zone. That's what we've talked about. We talked about it again on Saturday's show with Kevin, that idea of, guys tracking back, guys being aggressive. Doesn't have to necessarily be defensively, like getting back into the D zone. Of course, that's what you'd like if you don't have the puck. But in this instance, he forces a play. Zibanejad to lose the puck. Morrissey jumps on it. And yeah, I mean, memo to any team. If you leave Mark Scheifele that wide open, he is going to make you look silly. And, they talked about it on the broadcast. Mark Scheifele loves MSG. I mean, it's amazing the points he's been able to put up. He's not
talking about the additive in Chinese food, folks.
No, that Drew loves MSG, the Chinese food version.
Yeah.
He also loves MSG, the arena. Yeah. But the fact is that maybe not as much as Mark Scheifele, who like I said on the broadcast, they mentioned, how prolific he has been there. And it's a huge start. 57 seconds into the game, I believe, or whatever, 53 or 57, whatever
57.
it was. 57. Yeah, 57 seconds into the game for him to get that goal because you knew that both teams were feeling each other out. I mean, this is not, Eastern team. You play them only twice a year. It's not a rival, but the hype coming into tonight's game, like I said, the one thing I want to make an observation, if you will, since I, chronicle anything related to the NHL and AHL teams of this market on a little site called illegalcurve.com, is there's a lot more conversation. And I was kind of incredulous last week because I thought this team's like 13-1, 14-1, not a ton of, oxygen being used up other than obviously on these airwaves, but elsewhere I was a little surprised. I got to tell you. And so, but in the last few days, I'm noticing more, right? And like I said, there's a ton on the website the last couple of days, of folks talking about the Jets and in various, areas, whether it's TSN or ESPN or whatever. But like I said,
made PTI. Anytime that they talk about hockey on PTI on ESPN, that something rare is happened in the NHL, because with all due respect to Mike Wilbon and Tony Kornheiser, hockey is not at the forefront of their daily rundown on PTI. But when they're talking about the Winnipeg Jets, who, by the way, have as many wins in calendar year 2024 in the New York area as the New York Jets do, when the Winnipeg Jets and the New York Jets have the same number of wins in the New York area, that good things are happening for the Winnipeg Jets, not so good things happening for the New York Jets.
So I'm just saying that both teams were going to be up for this game. Again, like I said, the Rangers, because they weren't particularly happy with the last start against, I think they lost to the Sabres. So you knew that they weren't happy. And Shesterkin, I think, gave up 5 in that game, 4 or 5 in that game. So I know that they weren't happy. They were looking for some sort of response. And again, they were expecting that the Jets were going to give them a test, that they were going to try and, see how they could handle a powerhouse from the West, the team that, like I said, they don't face very often. So that's why I thought it was really important for both teams to get off to a good start. And it was the Jets who drew first blood.
Yeah, the Jets do draw first blood 57 seconds in. The Rangers respond at the 13:07 mark of the first. Will Kyle gets his 5th of the season, assist to Braden Schneider and Philip Cheadle. This one coming again, the Jets lose Kyle on this one. If you look back and you watch the replay, you'll see that there's 2 Rangers in front of Connor Hellebuyck and only 1 defender, Josh Morrissey. Dylan DeMello just caught a little bit out of place, and the shot from Schneider gets through. Connor Hellebuyck makes the original save, but DeMello's a little late getting to cover up to take the other man in front of the net, and Kyle makes no mistake in being able to tuck it behind Connor Hellebuyck to tie it up at 1 goal apiece with about just under 7 minutes to go in the first period. Dave, you just watch Dylan DeMello, and I think he gets caught puck watching and just loses track of his guy behind him, who ends up right really on top of Connor Hellebuyck to take away, to get that rebound that's available.
A rare goal against the third line, Drew. I think it's just the second 5-on-5 goal that line has given up. But yeah, you're right. I mean, Dylan DeMello is caught kind of watching, and you leave a guy that wide open. Josh Morrissey can only take so many people. He's only got 2 hands, so he's trying his best, but he's engaged, and that leaves a man wide open in front of Connor Hellebuyck. Great pass by the Rangers, and now it's a 1-1 game.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it was like 6:35 left in the first or something like that.
Yeah, just about that. Not much left. The next goal, even though it's not a great shot per se, has to be given the honor of being the
Seager shot of the game.
everybody who plays in the NHL is a special hockey player. I mean, you don't get to that level with just being a run of the mill Joe. But what you saw here from Gabe Vilardi shows why he's a special player.
Mhm.
And the truth is, he's just scratching the surface. So this is what's underneath the surface. The eye-hand coordination, the patience, the skill that's on display here in what will undoubtedly go down as one of the goals of the year. It's just that good. It's a power play goal for the Winnipeg Jets. Kyle, who scores for the Rangers, is in the box. He's taking a holding penalty. We're really down to the last, 30 seconds, 20 seconds of the power play. And in fact, Dave M., we've been sort of running and keeping track of this internal team competition as if it's a power play unit number 1 goal or a power play unit number 2 goal. And I'm not sure where this one qualifies because Neil Pionk makes the play at the blue line, and he's typically on the second power play unit.
Yeah.
He keeps the puck in. He sort of throws it towards the front of the net. And that's where Gabe Vilardi shows off his skill, batting the puck out of the air, just controlling it so that he's able to keep the puck and get around K'Andre Miller, passes it over to Ehlers, who passes it back to Vilardi for the give and go, and Vilardi just tucks it behind Shesterkin. I'm doing a lousy job describing it because
that's okay. Most people
hard
saw
to
it, I think.
describe anything that, I'm sure everyone that's watching this has seen the goal at this point in time. But
Sure.
the skill set that's on display to do this on his backhand, I might add, to knock it out of the air and keep control of it while then feeding it to Ehlers and still being patient enough to go and receive the pass back from Ehlers. It's just an absolutely remarkable goal. I don't know if TSN still does 1v1 on SportsCenter. They probably do because it doesn't take much effort for them to do it. But this is probably going to be your next winner of the 1v1 for a while, because to be able to do this at full speed against, albeit on the power play, but to knock it out of the air on your backhand and execute how Gabe Vilardi did here is really, truly a special play.
Well, and I'm with T. Will. When I was watching it, I agree with you, T. Will. T. Will's writing worries a little bit that the Jets are trying to get too cute. And actually both teams, I thought, did that. The Rangers also had a chance where I think it was Kakko made one extra pass where they pretty much had a tap in if he doesn't. And so there's, both teams kind of sometimes get into that. That's what skill does. But like I said, this team just has just so much of it. And Gabriel Vilardi, like healthy, is so good with what he's able to do, the way he knocks that puck down, Drew, and then recognizes where it is and like really leaves the defender kind of just guessing. Like he's looking around. He doesn't know where Vilardi is, doesn't know where the puck is, knows where Vilardi is, but doesn't know where the puck is. And then for him to make that play, and it's funny, we're talking a lot about Gabe Vilardi, and deservedly so. Nikolai Ehlers also deserves a lot of credit.
Sure.
Because Vilardi, first of all, again, it's a tremendous amount of skill to knock that puck down and to take possession of it. But then to kind of deke out Shesterkin, fake him out, get it over to Ehlers, and then, again, presence of mind to get to the front of the net, to be in position for Ehlers to give it back or really just to get a rebound. That's a tremendous amount of skill. And that takes a lot of connectivity that this first power play unit seems to have, right, Drew? And again, I know both units have it. So it's a tremendous advantage when the units both feel so good. And they'd been on, like the previous power play, they'd been on quite a while and nothing really doing, but they had some chances. But again, like I said, this is the best PK in the NHL, and you could see it. I like the way the Rangers PK works. Yeah. But again, this was a testament to this Jets club that, Pionk makes that pass to keep it in there. And Vilardi, I mean, you're right, dude. This is going to be a highlight of the night for quite some time, or whatever you want to call it, like a top 10 goal. You'll be seeing this throughout the course of the year, and deservedly so.
Yeah.
And hold on, Drew. I just want to give out some potpourri.
Oh, here comes Dave's favorite thing. It's potpourri time, folks.
I missed it. We're about, this is the goal happened about 8 minutes into the second period, but at the 2-minute mark, Connor Hellebuck hit 30,000 minutes of ice time wearing a Winnipeg Jets jersey. Why is that significant? It's not remotely. I just thought it was curious. When he was at 29,978, I said, I guess this game he's going to hit 30,000. Of course, I'm probably the only person in the world who actually pays attention to something like that.
Yeah.
But just so all you know, if you ever want to know, Connor Hellebuck has now played 30,000 minutes in a Winnipeg Jets uniform. There you go.
And I'm sure many people were worried about that and appreciate that, Dave Manook special sort of potpourri, as it were.
Useless factoids.
Useless factoid would also be another way of describing it. 2-1 for the Jets. Power play goal. The Rangers tie it up. Back and forth they went in this second period. They get their power play goal. It's Alex Lafreniere, his 6th of the season, assist to Adam Fox and Artemi Panarin. Kyle Connor is in the penalty box serving a penalty for tripping on this one. And, it's nothing flashy about this one. Chris Kreider is standing right in front of Connor Hellebuck. That's where you expect to find Chris Kreider on the Rangers power play. It doesn't look to me that Hellebuck can see the puck until it's past him, and it's a real nice shot from Lafreniere. Goes in off the inner post and in. Nothing that the Jets goaltender could do on this one. Just a very solid play by the Rangers on the power play to take advantage of the Kyle Connor penalty to tie it up at 2 goals apiece, Dave.
Well, I mean, obviously Chris Kreider couldn't get an assist on that goal, Drew, because he's going for the Cy Young with 8 goals and 0 assists this season.
Right.
But first of all, Kreider is a beast, though, and he always plays well against the Jets, and he's so big in front of the net. So that presence. I mean, you could see that he was a lot to handle for the Jets defense throughout the course of the evening while he was kind of staking out his claim in front of Connor Hellebuck throughout the course of this hockey game. But the only thing I would criticize, if you will, is that it just seemed like Neil Pionk had to make a decision like a little bit quicker because like he's with Kreider
in no man's land.
Well, he's with Kreider in front, and then he just leaves Kreider to go to try and kind of get out in front of the shot. And then what do they always say? They say if you're gonna do that, you have to block the shot.
Right.
You can't really let it get through you, and then it gets past Connor Hellebuck. So, I mean, that's probably the only thing I don't love about it. Is just because, like I said, if I'm Pionk, if he boxes out Kreider, which is not an easy task, but he kind of loads up that side, and then he really doesn't do much other than get caught in that no man's land, and then they tie the game.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You sort of saw Pionk was between the proverbial. Yeah, he was covering air, and that's never anything you necessarily want to do on the penalty kill, unless you're blocking that puck as it's traveling through the air. But he was not able to do so in this instance. 2-2 with about 7 minutes to go in the second period. The Jets regain the lead. Take a lead, give up the lead. Take a lead, give up a lead. Take the lead. They didn't give up the lead after this one.
If I may, Drew, if I may, I think we might have to do the shot of the day game twice because I think this really does deserve.
I don't know. Can we have to have a group meeting and really discuss if that's something we can do? I don't know that we've ever done it twice in a row. And twice in one post game. We could maybe give him an honorary mention, an honorary console for the shot of the game for this goal.
I don't think
the Seager shot of the game.
Okay, very generous of you there to give it out as well. It was a great shot by Kyle Connor. It's his 10th goal of the year. Assist to Neil Pionk. And it starts way back in the Jets zone. The Rangers player just bobbles the puck really at about the hash marks along the half wall in the Jets defensive zone. A great pass from Neil Pionk onto the tape of Kyle Connor, and he's coming down on a 2-on-1. Keandre Miller is the defender who's back. He takes away the shot, and then Kyle Connor goes short side on Igor Shesterkin. I wondered, and I still wonder, does Miller's stick maybe deflected or interfere with Shesterkin's ability to pick up the shot? I'm not sure about that, but it's a great shot by Kyle Connor, who makes amends for being in the penalty box when the Rangers scored their power play goal. He beats Shesterkin, gives the Jets the 3-2 lead. Kyle Connor on the wing, 2-on-1. It's a dangerous proposition. He can pass it. He can shoot it. He shoots it in this instance, and he makes no mistake to give the Jets the 3-2 lead.
Well, and you want to talk about making amends. I mean, Neil Pionk, who I just sort of pilloried for the penalty kill, he makes amends because he makes a nice read to recognize that there's a puck up for grabs and feathers a beautiful pass to Kyle Connor. And Rasmus Kupari, not a usual player alongside Kyle Connor, but he gives him a good option. And even though Kupari actually falls during the 2-on-1 opportunity,
Yeah.
one of the things that we talked about with Kevin Sawyer, and I tweeted about it, Drew, because it's the truth, is just how deceptive Kyle Connor's shot is. Like, the guy is ridiculous. And the even Steven nature of Kyle Connor, I mean, he's getting a little bit out of whack right now with, I think, 254 goals and 252 assists. But it really is amazing watching what he is doing night in and night out. And that shot of his, we talk about how good a passer he is, and we talk about how good a shooter he is. And I'm sure, hey, he's going up against the guy who he lost the Hobie Baker to, Jimmy Vesey. Never should have lost it. I watched those games. But again, that's
they never give it to a freshman. They always give it to a senior.
Yeah, Drew knows. But I would say that, it's it is remarkable, though, just to watch what Kyle Connor is doing this year, because as good as he's been throughout his career here in Winnipeg, this is a Kyle Connor I don't think we've ever seen before. I don't know what your opinion on that is, but to me, we're seeing a guy who, like I said, that first goal is largely a result of his actions. I mean, obviously Mark Scheifele and Josh Morrissey had something to do with it, but for what he did, you don't have that opportunity. And with that shot, he gives the Jets the 3-2 lead, and they're off to the races, at least in that second period.
Yeah, second period comes to an end with the score at that 3-2 mark. Not without some Connor Hellebuyck great saves and heroics late in that second period, where it seemed like the last 30 seconds, the puck, had multiple face-offs in the Jet zone. The last 30 seconds seems like it took about 4.5 minutes with the Rangers controlling the action in the Jet zone, but Connor Hellebuyck being up to the test to keep it at that 3-2 lead after 40 minutes. And then the Jets expand the lead. It ends up being the game-winning goal for the Winnipeg Jets. Mark Scheifele, his 9th of the season, his 2nd of the game. He loves scoring in New York. He loves scoring early goals in New York. This one at the 1:08 mark of the third period. And I mean, there's a lot to like on this play. Mark Scheifele, I would argue, had the easiest part of the play. Dylan DeMello steps up. He keeps he pinches in as a defender and keeps the puck in after the Rangers are really just sort of soft on it and trying to ring it around the boards. Again, soft defensive play in their own zone on this one. DeMello gets it up to Kyle Connor, and then you love DeMello's aggressiveness. He immediately charges down from the blue line, and Kyle Connor, with almost a no-look pass, onto the stick of Dylan DeMello, and he one-touches the pass over to Mark Scheifele. Scheifele, again, behind the defenders. Rangers, were you not listening to the first period recap where I said, don't let Mark Scheifele in behind your defenders in front of Igor Shesterkin? It's bad news. This one, Connor to DeMello to Scheifele to the back of the net. Bang, bang, bang. Great passing play, and the one that resulted in Kevin Sawyer making his little... Give us that noise again. What was that noise that he made?
Oof.
Oof. Oof. A positive oof from Kevin Sawyer as Scheifele puts the Jets up 4-2, a minute 8 into the third period.
Well, I mean, okay, so there's a couple of things that I like. Number one, it's that connectivity, right? Yeah. Guys just not standing still. Like, everybody is has trust is to know, okay, you're moving there, I'm covering you here. Like, there's a lot of motion, and for so long, one of our biggest criticisms of this Jets club was too stationary, and they just are too. They can be a fast team, but they're too slow. And like I said, one of the things that Kevin Cheveldayoff mentioned on the show yesterday was this idea of they wanted to play faster than they were last year. And Kyle Connor, well, you want to talk about faster? I mean, there's almost nobody, maybe Ehlers and Kupari, but there's not many guys who are faster than that guy. And it's fast. I mean, and when I say faster, obviously I don't mean just the way you skate, but I'm talking about faster decision-making as well. And that's what we see on this play. It's just guys knowing, having trust, and even Mark Scheifele, it's funny the way he kind of it's almost like he just kind of redirects it past Shesterkin.
Yeah.
Because he's just so well positioned there. He knows exactly where to be. And it's a great pass by DeMello to get it onto Scheifele's stick. And Scheifele makes no mistake. And like I said, as much as I want to laud Kyle Connor for his goal scoring, there's a reason why his assist totals are just as high as his goal totals, because he's just as good a passer as well. So it's also such a significant goal early in the third period. Absolutely. Because it's a 3-2 game coming after 40 minutes, and it can go either way. right? Like I said, this is a home crowd. The New York crowd was, the Jets, I would say take them out of it for a bit, but they kept getting back in it a little bit.
Sure.
And
It's anybody's game when it's 3-2 in the start of the third period.
that's right. And so you've got the Jets, though, like I said, even though I know we're going to talk about something 32 seconds later that removes some of that momentum, but you just felt like similar to that first goal in the first minute of the game, it was like, well, this is a good way to kind of build on that.
I'm just looking at it again.
Frame.
I can't get over the pass from Connor to DeMello.
Yes.
Is really a no-look pass. Go back, folks. If you haven't watched it, the super slow motion replay version that's available on NHL.com. He's just, he just knows where DeMello's going to be. He's not staring him down. He's not eyeballing him.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a remarkable vision play by Kyle Connor, and you have to love the aggressiveness that the Winnipeg Jets demonstrate. Dylan DeMello, again, not a guy you expect to be jumping up into the play necessarily, but when he's done it this year, when Neil Pionk's done it, now we expected more from Pionk, it's been so effective and it's been so well-timed. This is another instance of it to make it 4-2 for the Winnipeg Jets. But to your point, the Rangers battle back very shortly thereafter. 32 seconds later, Capo Caco, his second of the season, assist to Will Kyle as well. And the secondary assist goes to Braden Schneider. This one is a bit of a weird one. It's sort of like you're not really love what's happening on this one. You don't expect that it's a real difficult play. It's just more, again, the Rangers get position on Colin Miller this one. Capo Caco is in better position. He's lower in the zone than Colin Miller is. And once you're fronting a guy, if the puck gets through you and the goalie isn't able to make a clean save, it's opportunity time for the New York Rangers. And that's what you see here. Is that there's two guys, they take the puck in, they drive it in deep, they send it back out to the boards, to the top, to Schneider, and then Capo Caco is just too big for Colin Miller and in too good of a position for Colin Miller. You wondered if there was going to be a challenge on this one. If it wasn't this point in the game, you sort of maybe, I think it was a good decision not to challenge, especially given that we have no idea what, is actually goaltender interference or not. But the Rangers cut into the lead. They make it 4-3 on this one. Not the greatest goal I've ever seen, but effective for the Rangers nonetheless.
Yeah, look, and maybe the Jets were a little startled because they thought, hey, we claimed Capo Kakinen today, so they were confused by which Capo they were talking about. Right. We can talk about that after the show, after the break, Drew. Yeah. But I think it's an unfortunate situation. It potentially could be a backbreaker, right? Because you're up 4-2, you've got a lot of momentum, you're feeling good about yourself, right, and all of a sudden they score this goal. And I agree with you, Colin Miller, who's usually a pretty strong guy, pretty good at clearing the front of the net. It just seemed like the line was a little, I don't want to call it laissez-faire, but they just seemed a little bit dopey on this play. And I'm talking about the forwards, even the domestic, because this is a Nemesnikov line that gets scored on. And it just seemed like they were I watched them all pivot and they weren't quick. Again, to that idea of being quicker on their feet. I just thought that they were a little bit a second slow and just allowed the Rangers to kind of be a little more aggressive. And what ends up happening, what do you like to call it, Drew, controlled aggression? Yeah. But the Rangers, look, they knew that they were down by 2 and they needed a response. That's the response they got.
And you need the response. Yeah, you're going to need to press on the play and everything else. And the Rangers do this. So it's 4-3 at this point. And this is really what I highlighted this when we started this post-game show almost 50 minutes ago. Good evening to all of you. This is the Illegal Curve post-game show. Drew Mindell, Dave Manouk with you. If you haven't already done so, smash the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast. We do this after each and every Winnipeg Jets game. What I like, about this is the Jets' response to it. You're right. 32 seconds after you take a 2-goal lead, you give up a goal. Do you sag? Do you hang your head a little bit? Do the Rangers find that momentum? Do they get that energy to come back and tie the game? Do they turn the game on its head at this point in time? They do none of those things. The Jets just take a deep breath, say, flush this one, not a great play by us. How are we going to respond? Well, the next 10, 12 minutes of the game looked fairly similar to how they had looked for the majority of the game, which means the Jets were getting their opportunities. The Jets were playing well. The Jets were moving the puck. And then they get the opportunity. And this one's a little bit fortunate. Let's be honest, folks. But good fortune finds those who deserve it. And in this case, Vlad Nemesnikov finds his 5th goal of the year assist to Nikolai Ehlers. It's a 2-on-1. The Rangers, of course, they're pressing for the equalizer. There's less than 7 minutes to go in the game. So they get caught 2-on-1. Ehlers and the Mesnikov. The Mesnikov with the saucer pass over to Ehlers. Puck is rolling a bit. It's a little on edge. The ice at Madison Square Garden is notorious for being the worst ice in the NHL because it's such a busy arena. So the pass to Ehlers isn't crisp. Ehlers misses it. It bounces off of the end boards. He misses the puck, misses the shot, misses the goal entirely. The puck bounces off the end boards, though. And the Mesnikov's momentum has taken him behind the net because as he's skating so fast, the puck off the end boards comes to him. He's able to, with his soft hands, go back out in front and tuck it behind Igor Shesterkin, who's down and out on the play in trying to prevent Ehlers from getting the shot off. And the Jets make it 5-3. Fortuitous bounce, but the Jets won't apologize. They'll say thank you very much, and they have the 2-goal lead back after giving it up, Dave.
Well, and I joked about this, Drew, but I really do think that, like, that's almost, we say that, so and so's office is here, but Nemestikov seems to always score those goals, the wraparound goals. I mean, it's interesting that he just always, I know his last goal was
a smart player, and when you're a smart player, the puck finds you.
Yeah,
and that's what it is.
And he spent 2.5 years, I think, in New York. He was traded, I think, from the Lightning to the Rangers in 16-17 or 17-18, and then he spent a couple of years in New York. So, like I said at the outset of the show, you could see that he was pumped to score against New York. Got a big smile on his face after that goal went in, and it's a huge goal, says Captain Obvious, or me in this instance, because it just allows the Jets to kind of get that breath, right? And just under 7 minutes left in the game. And like you had said, Drew, and the one thing I do have to say, there wasn't a panic in the Jets game. There were both teams that were getting chances, but I didn't see the Jets get away from what they do. And again, this wasn't a perfect game by the Jets. There were a few failed exits. Yeah. There was one in particular, I think it was in the first period, maybe, where the Perfetti line had the puck and they all started going. The problem was the puck was still in their zone, resulted in a chance for the Rangers. But like I said, this is a good goal, and not a good goal in the sense that, it's not, the Rangers aren't going to love it, but it's a hardworking, it's a smart goal by Vlad Nemestikov, and it's a huge boost for the Winnipeg Jets.
Absolutely. Makes it 5-3 with under 7 minutes to go, and the Jets did a great job for the remainder of the game, really keeping the Rangers from getting anything. They had the opportunity. Dylan Samberg takes the interference penalty 44 seconds later. The Rangers get a power play with less than 6 minutes to play. If you score on that power play, you're talking about 5 minutes of chaos to end this game. Instead, what do the Jets do? They do a great job killing off that power play for the Rangers. Did a great job getting sticks in lanes, preventing the Rangers from getting what looked like they had a couple of opportunities to. I think there was one in particular. Mika Zibanejad just whiffed on what should have been a goal. That's probably a goal 90-95% of the time, given how silky smooth the passing was and how he had an entire really half of a net to shoot at. Instead, he whiffs on it. The Jets do a great job otherwise keeping the puck away from the dangerous areas. They kill off the penalty, and then Kyle Connor, with 20 seconds to go in the game, gets his second of the game into the empty net. Goal number 11 in 16 games for the Jets sniper. Assist to Dylan Samberg. 6-3 final for the Winnipeg Jets. 15-1. Hard to believe when you say it. You feel it's like it's not totally real, and you're not sure when it's going to come to an end. But 15-1, the Winnipeg Jets are, as they head to Florida to face the Lightning on Thursday, and then the Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers, the first in a home-and-home on Saturday evening, Dave. It's remarkable is really the only word that's left for the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, that's Drew. You've put it well. I mean, we don't usually break down empty net goals. I'm not going to offer up any additional thoughts.
We're already 55 minutes in, and we haven't taken a break.
Hey,
yet.
We've got 500 people in the chat right now, so we're not going to start. We don't need to go anywhere. We want to keep everyone happy, and of course, we need you to slash that like button. We need you to ensure that you're subscribing to this channel. But I mean, for every additional subscriber, that just means one more win for the Jets. I think that's how it works, doesn't it, Drew?
That's just math. That's just math as far as I'm concerned. But Dave is exactly right. Be sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, tell your friends and family. You know, we know that so many of you are regulars and we love you for it.
Yep.
But you know what? Pay it forward by 1 or 2 people. We're a sharing group here. We're a large extended family here on Illegal Curve. So as much as you enjoy the show, why don't you go next on for Thursday night's game? Why don't you make sure you bring a friend who hasn't been here before?
Don't watch on the same computer though.
No, different computers. You have to send different computers, so your each count is a different viewer and a different number and everything else. We want to expand the love. We want to share it. We want people all over the place knowing, as they already do, but we need to make that louder and more prominent, that the place to be after each and every Winnipeg Jets game and the place to be on Saturday mornings is the Illegal Curve YouTube channel for the Illegal Curve post-game show and the Illegal Curve hockey show, both of which are brought to you by our friends at Play Now. Don't bet on illegal sites. Bet with Play Now instead, Manitoba's local, legal, and secure gambling site. 18 plus. Enjoy responsibly. When we come back on the Illegal Curve post-game show, more on the Jets' victory in New York, look ahead to Thursday against the Tampa Bay Lightning, and more of me and Dave. And that's really all anybody could ask for. Drew Mandel, Dave Manouk, Tuesday night, the Illegal Curve post-game show rolls on.
We want to thank you for not betting with Play Now and choosing our illegal gambling site instead.
Because we couldn't afford things like this without your money.
So much of your money.
Now you might have questions like,
do our profits benefit your community?
No.
Or bet with Play Now, Manitoba's local, legal, and secure gambling site.
Dining, entertainment, parking, and convenience, all in one spot. City Place is located in the heart of downtown Winnipeg, attached to the Canada Life Centre. Whether you're working, living, or out for a night in the downtown, make City Place your go-to destination before or after the fun finds you. Lunchtime, game time, anytime, visit City Place at 333 St. Mary Avenue, next to Canada Life Centre. Holt Dental, the new official dentist of Illegal Curve, has a philosophy rooted in 2 unyielding principles: genuinely caring about patients and providing outstanding service. Being a patient of Holt Dental means more than just checkups and treatments. It's taking the time to listen and talk to each patient so they can achieve the best long-term health, functionality, and aesthetics for their teeth, mouth, and gums. Conveniently located at Grant Park Festival on Taylor Avenue, Holt Dental is dentistry of the highest quality in a comfortable and relaxed environment. For more information, visit holtdental.ca. Oh, and there's plenty of free parking at the front door, too. Celebrating its 40th year as Winnipeg's home for stand-up comedy, Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club has recently been named Canada's top comedy club and a top 5 comedy club in North America. From birthday parties to date nights to fundraisers and everything in between, Rumors is your destination for the best and most affordable live entertainment Winnipeg has to offer. For more information on upcoming shows, Rumors' incredible promotions, and to purchase tickets, visit rumorscomedyclub.com.
So you're a pizza person, you married a wing person, but somehow your kids are salad people. You can't pick your fam, but you can pick your BP meal deal, starting from $18.99 for takeout or delivery at bostonpizza.com.
9:45. Welcome back to the Illegal Curve post-game show. Drew Mandel, Dave Manouk with you. Our friends at Boston Pizza want to remind you to skip the stress and let Boston Pizza handle your party plans for this holiday season. They have a whole new menu that they've unveiled, their Fa-la-la-la-la flavors menu, which I have a copy of right here. Dave, you missed last week when I tried the braised beef mac and cheese and the...
Oh, God. Did you do it on air?
Oh yeah, you haven't went back and watched it. You got to go
No,
back and watch it.
you know what? I thank God I didn't. Usually I listen to the podcast while I'm like editing it, but thank
Yeah.
God I didn't. That would have killed my ears.
No, you got to go back. And I had the braised beef mac and cheese. I had the caramel pecan sticky toffee pudding. DM was in a happy place on that
man,
post
did
game
you
show.
subject our audience to that? I feel bad. My apologies for everyone for missing that show. I would have just removed Drew from the video there.
I didn't eat the entire thing on air. I'm not a glutton. I just had a couple of nibbles while telling Ezzy he wasn't having it. So I think that might have been the fun part of it all. And anyways, in any event, big thanks to our friends at Boston Pizza for their support of the show. We're going to be at Boston Pizza, not this Friday, but next Friday. So that is a little less than 2 weeks from now, the 22nd of November. It's the next version, the next edition of the Illegal Curve watch party and live
the Nashville
on
game or the
location.
Pittsburgh game?
It's the Pittsburgh game. So the Friday, November 22nd, the Jets and the Penguins. We don't know where Rutgers is going to be for that game, but likely
Got his first goal in the AHL.
Oh, we got a first goal. Congratulations to him. But we'll be at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue. It's a 6:00 puck drop. So if you're looking for a place, maybe at the end of a long work week, you want to tip back a few, you want to watch the Jets and the Penguins, you want to hang out with yours truly and Dave and Ezzy and the rest of the Illegal Curve crew, and then you want to stick around for an Illegal Curve post-game show.
Forget about
Timmy, producer Timmy's going to be there. Yeah, it's all coming up November the 22nd. And then 1 week from today, an afternoon edition, Tuesday afternoon, November 19th, we're going to be at City Place prior to the Jets and the Florida Panthers, the rematch in the home and home series. We're going to be doing our pregame show. We do this on a monthly basis in the food court at City Place. That's next Tuesday, November the 19th. We'll be there getting you set for the Jets and the Panthers later on that evening. So that's going to be a lot of great upcoming programming, live on location programming that you can join us for next week. The 19th at City Place, the 22nd at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue, and of course, everything available here live on our YouTube channel as well. Jets win 6-3. Here's Mark Scheifele after the game, courtesy of our buddy Scott Billick. He wrote about it, and courtesy of somebody else in Winnipeg who gave it to Scott. So everyone's
Scott's in Winnipeg, so I don't know how he did that, but okay.
Everyone's helping everybody out.
Sure.
Everybody's a team here.
People loving people.
That's right. Here's what Mark Scheifele had to say. Quote, "It's MSG. You got to get up for MSG." Scheifele told reporters in New York, "It's just a fun place to play. I play with some good players, made some good plays out there. You play at MSG, you gotta put on a show." That's the Jets centerman Mark Scheifele, who did put on a show with his 2 goals tonight, leading the Jets to a victory 6-3 over the New York Rangers, Dave.
Well, and don't forget, Drew, I mean, we talked about it with Scott O'Neill a couple of days ago before they left.
Yeah.
4 nations. I mean, these guys are all aware. More eyes out east. GM's meetings right now. So, folks are yucking it up. I think those were in Toronto, but because it's the Hall of Fame game and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, like I said, this is a big stage. And Mark Scheifele wants to shine bright, as do Colin Hurlbut, as does Kyle Connor, as does Josh Morrissey. And so they continue to do so in impressive fashion in this team. I mean, let's isolate it. The second 7-game winning streak. Of course, we know they already have an 8-game winning streak of the season, and they're 7-0-0 on the road. I mean, they have not lost a game on the road. And so, I mean, it just continues to be impressive after impressive after impressive by this Jets club.
Speaking of 7 goals for Mark Scheifele in his last 3 games in Madison Square Garden. Yeah. He had the 2 goals tonight. He had the hat trick last year. Of course, the Jets only play there once a year. Yeah. And he had 2 goals the year before. So 7 goals for Mark Scheifele in his last 3 games in Madison Square Garden. So that should tell you exactly how much he enjoys playing there. Here's Kyle Connor after the game. He also had his 2 goals tonight. It's coming from all areas of our team, top to bottom, D-men. Everyone's involved with it. Everyone's involved in it, and that's what makes us so dangerous, so lethal. We're not just a one-trick pony. If one line has an off night, we usually have 2 or 3 going that can pick it up. There you go. Kyle Connor with thinking what we're all saying, or saying what we're all thinking, that the Jets just come at you wave after wave after wave in their performance and in their goal scoring and then their effectiveness night in, night out as of late. through 20%, not just 5%, not 10%, not 15%, but through 20% now of the NHL season.
Well,
That Winnipeg Jets are is 15-1.
That's why I said, Drew, this is not a mirage. You can pillory, you can try and quibble, but I just think it's going to fall on deaf ears at this point. This is not fluky. There's no, this has substance. This is real. And again, like I said, do we think it's going to be sustainable? I have no idea, because it's what they're doing is remarkable, and what they're doing is unprecedented in the entire history of this league. This is a Jets team that's doing something that we've never seen before. So, I know that folks love to say, well, this team that did this didn't do anything, or the teams that win the president, I saw one of the assessments today. Oh, well, the teams that win the President's Trophy, they don't win, and blah, blah, blah. Again, like I said, like every season is unique. And I know that we love to draw parallels and say, well, you can draw a conclusion based on what happened in the past, but you can and you can't. I mean, like I said, every situation is unique. And so far right now, this Jets team is like I said, they're playing a consistent brand of hockey, and the special teams are working. The goaltending is working. So there's really no, and the other thing also that's important is, like, tomorrow's an off day. They're getting rest. They took 2 days off before today's game, right? They took off Sunday. They traveled on Monday, which is, I guess, an off day, not really officially.
A travel day.
It's a travel day, but they're not on the ice, is what I'm saying.
Right.
And they're on the ice today. They'll be off the ice tomorrow. Then they'll skate on Thursday in Tampa. My point is that and then I think then they go to Florida. I think they practice on Friday, play Florida on Saturday, but they take the day off on Sunday. So they're getting a good amount of rest. They're keeping their guys fresh. And it's impressive what they're doing. And then the only thing we should add, I know we're getting a little bit long on this one, Drew, but just an update. Ville Heinola, he ditched the non-contact sweater for the first time since day one of training camp, way back on September 18th. So almost 2 months for Ville Heinola to get back in a non-contact uniform.
Mm-hmm.
Worth noting, of course, that when Ville Heinola is ready to come off of IR, or LTIR, sorry, the Jets will have to, even if they put him on a conditioning stint, they'll have to put someone else on waivers to get down, because they'd have 24 on the roster.
Right.
So as soon as he's ready to go and kind of be ready to, play and be considered a regular, regardless of whether he's going to stay with the NHL group or if he's going to be asked to go on a conditioning assignment, there will have to be a subsequent move for waivers, unless, again, and this leads into my next point, there's something more substantial with Logan Stanley's injury. Logan Stanley, of course, put on IR today. He is dealing with a mid-body, which when you're 6'7", Drew, could be from like 6'3" to like, the 2'4" or whatever it is. But like, he's dealing with something. And I thought the interesting comment from Scott O'Neill today was that he'll be assessed, and they'll basically discuss it when they get back from the road trip. So he's not available for these next 2 games in Florida. He's still back in Winnipeg. And then the last, I guess, item to discuss is the fact that the Jets put in a claim for Kaapo Kähkönen today. Of course, just to make a quick observation for folks who are maybe unaware in terms of how the waiver wire works, but the Jets, because of once the clock hits November 1st, the waiver wire resets. The Jets, being the first place team, have the last spot in claiming a player. So they're the 32nd team when it comes to claims. The Avalanche put Kaapo Kähkönen in the netminder, who the Jets, of course, signed on July 1st. They put him on waivers. Very weird, right? Because of the visa issues. He played 2 games for the Colorado Eagles in the AHL on a conditioning assignment. Came up, played 1 game. I think it was like October 30th. Then he got put on waivers yesterday, and the Jets claimed him, and then they assigned him immediately to the Moose. My suspicion will be,
and the Jets were able to do that because they had the lowest waiver priority in the entire league.
Right.
So because they're
the only ones who put in a claim.
They were the only ones who put in a claim. And so as a result, they were able to send him directly to the Manitoba Moose without having to put him through waivers to get to the AHL.
Right. And I just think that, when folks were like, well, why would you blah, 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 like, why would you do it? And I said, well, the reason you do it is because you need to have insurance. You don't want Thomas Milic and Dominic DiVincentis, 2 young Jets prospects, but one's 21 in Milic, the other is 20 in DiVincentis. They're young. And if you have a problem up with the big club, you need a guy with a little bit of experience, and neither one of those guys is there yet. So most likely what you're going to do, in my conjecture, my speculation will be, and we'll find out, the Moose are in action on tomorrow, Wednesday.
Yeah.
So they'll be in action tomorrow in Milwaukee. They're playing, I believe it's tomorrow's the school day game. So they're playing at 10:30 tomorrow morning. And so, of course, I'll have all that coverage for the folks on illegalcurve.com and on my Twitter, plus my Blue Sky, plus my Threads, plus this account, plus that account. But I'm just saying that, I suspect that DiVincentis will be the guy who gets sent down, and that Milic will stay up, and DiVincentis will go down to Norfolk, where he kind of does the Milic plan, which is get a bunch of games under his belt. And then if needed, he'll come back up to the AHL.
Okay, last question for you before we wrap up. Comrie or Hellebuck on Thursday?
I would think it's Comrie. I think it's time to give Eric Comrie another start. You give Connor Hellebuck's feeling good about himself, but he's played a few games. That the Saturday game against the Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers is going to be significant. So I would think you go Comrie on Thursday, you go Hellebuck Saturday, Tuesday, and then you give Comrie. Is the back-to-back Drew Thursday, Friday, or Friday, Saturday?
Friday, Saturday.
So then you give Comrie the Saturday against Nashville.
I think you're probably right. I would expect it's Eric Comrie in net on Thursday. And our friend Ken Wiebe, in his article yesterday in the Free Press about Connor Hellebuck, also strongly alluded that he thought it was going to be Eric Comrie on Thursday as well. So we will see if that's correct, but I tend to think that it's going to be Eric Comrie in net on Thursday, and we'll see if it's going to be Andrei Vasilevsky or who's going to counter for the Tampa Bay Lightning. It's going to be another great game on Thursday night. We encourage you to join us again, 8:40 p.m. for the post-game show on Thursday after the Jets and the Lightning. The Jets look to make it 16-17 as this streak continues, and everyone's minds continue to be blown by the Winnipeg Jets' performance as of late. Thank you to so many of you. Great audience tonight, great fan participation, great chat as always. We appreciate all of you for joining us. If you haven't already done so, be sure to get your Illegal Curve merchandise. You can go to our website, illegalcurve.com, click merch at the top, put your orders in before November 17th. So you still have about 4 days to go to get your Illegal Curve merchandise orders in, and you're likely to get them, especially if you choose to pick them up, you're likely to get them before the holiday season, before Christmas or Hanukkah or any of the holidays that you might be celebrating in and around the end of December. Get your Illegal Curve merchandise for the Illegal Curve fan in your family. Big thanks to our friends at Play Now. They're the title sponsor of this great show. Their support makes it possible for us to do this. Same with our friends at Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club. Kyle Kinane at Rumors this weekend, Thursday through Saturday. Hilarious. If you haven't seen him, get your tickets, rumorscomedyclub.com. Big thanks to our friends at Holt Dental. My son just lost a tooth today. Good thing, like a baby tooth. So we have to go to the tooth fairy him, drop by the house to get him his little reward for losing his tooth. He was very excited about that. Holt Dental for all your dental needs. Our friends at Boston Pizza, our friends at City Place, and the two-time Seagram's Shot of the Game winners, Gabe Velarde and Kyle Connor, on tonight's programming. Thanks to all of you for joining us. If you haven't already done so, smash the like button, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family. The best place to be after each and every Jets game, and again on Saturday mornings, is the Illegal Curve YouTube channel. For Dave Minuk, I'm your host, Drew Mandel. Until Thursday, right around 8:40 p.m. or so, we wish you good night and good luck. And thanks for watching the Illegal Curve post-game show.